so let's talk about something really interesting. How in the world do you teach an ancient language, something like Hebrew, to students who are, completely wired into the digital world? Today, we're diving into this project called Tech, and they are tackling this exact problem, smashing together ancient tradition with some seriously futuristic tech. Let's get into it. And really, that's the big question, isn't it? It's the one that language teachers everywhere are wrestling with right now. I mean, it's not just about memorizing vocabulary lists and grammar rules anymore. It's about grabbing students' attention, making it feel relevant, and getting them ready for a future that, honestly, none of us can fully predict. So how do you build that bridge? Okay, so first, let's kind of set the scene here. At the heart of this whole thing is a major collision between two totally different worlds. On one side, you've got the old school way of teaching a language. Textbooks, drills, the teacher up at the front of the class. And on the other side, you've got students who learn, hang out, and pretty much live in this super fast, interactive digital space. And those old methods, well, they're just not cutting it anymore. They're struggling to hold kids' attention and, maybe more importantly, to feel like they matter in their actual lives. So here's the key. The challenge isn't just about throwing a few fun games into the lesson plan. It's about a complete overhaul, making the teaching itself dynamic, interactive, and plugged into the world we live in now. The people behind this project said it perfectly. Using these modern tools isn't just a cool add-on anymore. It's an absolute must if we want to prepare students for the real world. So when you're facing a challenge this huge, where do you even begin? Well, in this case, it all started with a powerful vision from one very passionate educator. And that person is Orly Lobby-Travish. She's an educational entrepreneur, the founder of 972 Education, and really a specialist in shaking up how we teach languages. She saw this growing gap between the classroom and the real world and imagined a whole new path forward, one that doesn't just tolerate technology, but actually embraces it as a fundamental part of teaching. And this leads us to a word you're going to want to know: technopedagogy. I know, it sounds a little academic, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple and really powerful. Think of it like a recipe with 4 key ingredients. You take technology, you mix it with solid teaching methods, that's the pedagogy part. Then you fold in the spark of human creativity and intelligence. And finally, you add the power of artificial intelligence. That blend right there is the philosophy driving this whole thing. But a great idea is one thing, you gotta have a way to bring it to life. And that's exactly what the Tech online conference is all about. It's the place where these big ideas get turned into real, practical action. And get this, just look at how quickly the conference itself has evolved. In 2023, the main theme was digital literacy, basically getting teachers up to speed with the basics. Fast forward just 2 years to 2025, and the theme completely jumps to leading change in the era of generative AI. That leap tells you everything about the insane speed of tech right now and why teachers have to keep learning and adapting, constantly. So the mission for Tech is super clear: to give Hebrew teachers, no matter where they're from or how tech-savvy they are, the tools they need to stay ahead of the curve. It's all about empowering them so they can, in turn, give their students a real-world advantage in a world that's only getting more digital. And they didn't mess around. They brought in some heavy hitters to make this happen. We're talking a global lineup of experts, from top academics like Thor Swain at the Middlebury Language Schools to super practical specialists like Tom Hugalati from Tel Aviv. This mix is perfect because it means teachers get both the big brainy ideas and the you can use this in your class tomorrow kind of strategies. Okay, so they had the vision, they had the experts, but did it actually work? The real test of something like this is what the teachers themselves thought. So let's listen to some of the voices from the conference. This first piece of feedback just nails that feeling of discovery. You can just feel the excitement. For a lot of these teachers, it wasn't just another training day. It was a total game changer. Like someone flipped a switch and showed them a whole new universe of possibilities for their classroom. Now, let's be real. All this innovation can be a lot. And for a full picture, we have to share this too. Some teachers said they felt pretty overwhelmed. I mean, it's a huge amount of new information packed into a very long day. And that's honest, important feedback to hear. And this comment points to something that was clearly a huge win. The conference was hands-on. it wasn't just a bunch of lectures about AI. The teachers actually got time to play around with the tools, to experiment, to build stuff. That's what makes these ideas stick. Here we go again with that really balanced view. This teacher is saying, yeah, sitting for 7 hours was tough, no doubt. But in the same breath, they call the material rich, professional, and groundbreaking. It shows that even though it was intense, the quality of the content made it worth it. And maybe this quote is the perfect way to wrap up the feedback. When a teacher tells you they literally can't pick a favorite part because every single workshop was that good, well, you know you've created something pretty special. So, after hearing all that, what does it all add up to? Let's pull the camera back and look at the bigger picture, what this all means for the future of learning. When you boil all that feedback down, you really see 3 massive benefits pop out. First, these AI tools can be a huge time saver for teachers, which is incredible. Second, they are fantastic for getting students hooked and engaged. And third, they act as a creative springboard, sparking all kinds of new ideas for everyone in the room. And this is a really critical point. Ivrytech isn't just a once-a-year event anymore. It's actually become a blueprint for building a global community. It's closing the distance between teachers, connecting folks from Israel to the US and all over, and building partnerships that go on all year long. And that leaves us with one last really big idea to chew on. We've just seen how this techno-pedagogy approach is completely changing the game for teaching one of the oldest languages on Earth. So, if this is what's possible for Hebrew, what could this mean for math, for science, for history? What's next for education, everywhere?